So Sloan, here we are.
Yes.
Inside the Rising Sun Brewery in Cork City, Cork, County Cork, Ireland. And we have something very special with us, Leo McCabe.
Well, I'd like to say hello to all the good people in the US of A, and it's a pity at this stage in the evolution of mankind that Irish people have to show you how to brew IPA.
Okay, so Leo, and we have somebody else here with us.
This is Judy
Hi.
Wilkins.
Judy.
Hi, how's it going? I just want to talk about good beer, so let's go.
The microphone that Grant's using is useless. It was useless the whole time, and we didn't realize it until we got back.
And that is your Drunken Uncle.
That's your Drunken Uncle Productions.
They say it's a small brewery, but I thought it has this vast innards, you know, it was sizable. And they took us first to the Malt Room where they store the malt and the hops and the yeast. Yeah, Leo told us a story about how he grew up with a pub owner. His father was a pub owner, and he basically, his job, his whole life is, carrying kegs, and that's how he kind of built his muscles, right? And he's still doing it to this day.
Yeah.
And he told us he was on the 2005 Irish weightlifting team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's short but stocky, built, man.
Leo's got some stuff going on.
Yeah.
Always, it seems.
Judy points out that they have to buy their hops from Germany and America, and she pulled out some American hops that are in a bag, and they're imported. But they buy malt from Ireland, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first step to the brewing process is you put the malt in this grist mill, right, in the hopper, grinds it up, and then they have this intricate collection of pipes that auger the grain up and out
Through the pipes, it's
down
you'll see it, but it goes all the way through the old factory building here and moves it around.
and then into this vessel where it's mixed with water. Right?
So do all the beers have hops? Does all beer have hops?
Malt and hops. Judy did mention that although it's a small brewery, they can produce 2,000 liters per batch.
But Rising Sun they sell their beer all throughout Cork. It's all throughout Cork. So it's not just their home brew pub.
And when it finally gets this thing called the mash tub, which is a great name, there's a great vocabulary in the brew world. So that this mash tub, they heat it up, not totally to boiling yet. It's like 62, she said, 68 degrees, and that's Celsius, of course. They don't think about that.
Judy knows her stuff, man.
She is. She's amazing. Notice she's the one doing the tour, not Leo. She knows the business.
Leo knows. That's the brilliance of Leo. He knows when to hand it off.
Yeah, and doesn't every great leader? I mean, know when to delegate. I mean, he's really good at that too. So this sign was hilarious.
It says, "Please do not feed these animals."
No, please do feed.
Please do feed these animals. Sorry, misread it.
With pints. And Sloan was like, "We're animals. We're animals." Feed us
That's
pints.
true, actually.
Feed us pints.
Drunken Uncle has a wee bit of animal in him.
They were brewing the Belgian Wit, which is a beer that we try later on. That's what was in the tubs. And then this thing right here is called a Lauter Tun. That's another great phrase.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's the grain, the spent grain, and it smelled just like the brown bread they serve you in Ireland with
Which is
every
delicious.
meal.
Yeah, I love that brown bread.
Put some butter on it.
Yeah, it's thick and hearty like me.
And they sell it. It's a hearty young lad. And they sell it as cattle feed. They sell the spent grain as cattle feed.
Okay.
I love her. Look at her hand gesture. She's totally explaining it with her hands right now how they spin the wort, which is the liquid, to separate the grain out. And she's doing it. And then she compares it to how you separate the tea. The tea leaves from your tea, and she's doing all those hand signals. That's just so cool.
No, it was really cool because I've known a little bit about beer making, but to actually go through step by step, and she walked us through the whole process. I don't know, it was at least 20 minutes long, if not longer. It's really fascinating and detailed. She knew every step of every process. I just thought it was cool.
I wanted to say when the wort is transferred back to the mash tun, that's when they add the hops, and then they boil it. So there's a lot of heat, and then they they run it through that heat, that cooling exchange. And here is where, in these big steel tubs, you see Leo like knocking on it.
So we cast our wort through this hose and we pitch it in here. We cast it in here to the top here. At the same time, we pitch or add our yeast to
This
the top.
is where they add the yeast. So all this time, the beer doesn't have alcohol in it yet. And so this is where they add the yeast and the fermentation begins.
Now at this stage, we have what we call a lag phase. There's absolutely nothing going on. The yeast hasn't uptaken any oxygen. And we do a scientific reading at this stage called original gravity. And we're measuring the amount of fermentable sugars in the wort against the density of water. It'll eventually lead us to our ABV. After the lag phase, the oxygen, or the yeast, uptakes the oxygen and it starts to do its job.
She does this hilarious analogy of how the yeasts are like asexual and giving birth to daughters, right? And she does this thing with her hands where
daughters
make
produce
daughters
daughters,
give birth to
daughters,
daughters.
Leo's face, I guess that works.
Leo has daughters to him, I think. And so it was a hilarious sort of feminist moment we were having about, beer being, made possible by girls.
Girl on girl yeast.
Some other great, the yeast isn't...
Sorry, I was just going with the look at the look I'm getting.
No, it's a story. It's a story.
Oh, it's a story. Next
So-
on your drunken uncle, Laura's yeast story. She said it's a story.
Our fermenters are double lagged so we can regulate the heat. Our alcohol we want, and our CO2 we need to release. So we release it through here. Why? Because if you leave a buildup of CO2 in a fermenter, this fermenter is going to end up on the moon, and Leo and myself have no jobs.
Here's another great story they told. Before they had CO2 gauges, they would take dachshunds and put the dachshunds in the tanks.
Interestingly, up to 100 years ago, we didn't have CO2 monitors. We've one down here. They used dashing dogs. So they'd throw the dog into the fermenter. If the dog passed out, there was CO2. If the dog stayed standing, all the CO2 would go. Okay, so we ferment for about... Interesting fish. Yay! We do listen for barking every now and again. There hasn't been anything yet.
That was before PETA.
Yeah, Peter would not appreciate
That
those
was
old
long ago.
old world
The
brewing
Canadian coal
methods.
mine thing, right?
I sort of surreptitiously asked how they produce their different kinds of beers, like asking how what's the mixture, but they didn't answer that.
You make a drunken uncle IPA?
Definitely.
Instead,
Yeah, well-
they sort of answered how the reason why they keep their IBUs where they are and their alcohol volumes, like they basically said, Irish people will not drink a beer that's over like 6%. They want to sit down and enjoy a pint and not get schnockered after like 2 or 3 of them,
Right.
right? And
They want to have 20.
yeah, and be able to stumble home, I guess. But
Yeah.
Are they like your little babies, maybe at times?
The beers?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want to hold them, caress them, love them, and enjoy them, and that's what we want to see people do. Absolutely.
You drink enough of them, they'll hold you and caress you back.
we asked them what's the sort of next step and what do they want to tell us about about Rising Suns, and the thing they said was that they want to export across the country. Although he did tell us there's a Walmart in Washington that carries Nidaz stout.
Really? We need a direct line, Leo. Like, we need to be like having beer sent to us. We
Yeah.
need to figure that out.
Yeah, Leo, send beer.
Run a pipeline. Instead of
only
running a pipeline of dirty oil to our feckin' country, how about a pipeline of Rising Sun Brewery? There'd be leaks. There'd be tons of leaks. I'd be out there myself with a chisel and a hammer. It's party time, boys!
You go drink the beer, and so here you go, your drunken uncle from Rising Suns Brewery in Cork City, County Cork, Ireland. Cheers. And it's no